Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS current affair analysis for 30th May 2020, and these are the articles we'll be dealing today. Now the first article for the day is taken from the Indian Express and it is titled Law That Produces Losers. So this is regarding the labor reforms and the problems within the Industrial Disputes Act, which has been causing a lot of trouble and which led to growth of informal economy in our Indian economy. Now let us have a look at the problems in this Industrial Disputes Act and what this act is all about. So basically there are three problems within the Industrial Disputes Act that has been a cause of concern. So there is one provision which says that if you hire more than 99 workers, you will have to notify the government before you can fire any of them. So the companies are forced to stay small. That is the first problem. Second one is that if you hire more than 20 people, you are liable to open up provident fund commitments and other bonus payments as per the social security norms laid down in the law. So this is one more problem that is causing small employers to stay small itself without growing. The third one is, if you want to deny workers severance pay, never keep them continuously employed for more than 240 days. So there is this probability of hire and fire strategy rather than retaining employees and looking at them as assets. So this view is completely absent because of the anomalies present within the Industrial Disputes Act. So what happened was, this Industrial Disputes Act ended up encouraging informalization of our economy. So given these provisions in the act, most of the employers were reluctant to hire people for more than 240 days. So most of them remained below 100. So they did not create enough jobs. They were happy with being small. And secondly, they did not hire them for a longer period. So what happened as a result was, there was neither job security, there was neither income security. So what happened was, most of the companies, even though they're growing, they found ways within the law to bypass this labor legislations, and as a result the plight of labor and social security aspect has been left unanswered by most of the governments and employers. As a consequence to this, in a long term, if you take a look at it, we only have low skilled workers who are happy being employed at the lower rungs of technology without upgrading their technological prowess. So in the first few years of this century itself, over half the increase in total employment has been that of contract workers. So contract working is a problematic issue because it will ensure that social security is completely absent from the contract. Given the fact that there are as many as 6 crore MSMEs or MSME companies in our country, we can have an estimate of the informal economy in our country. So there are constraints on both the workforce size and the duration of the employment, which will eventually destroy our research and development capability in longer run. So India spends only around 0.7% of the GDP on R&D. This is very low compared to a country like South Korea, which has similar demographic patterns. South Korea spends around 4.2% of its GDP on research and development. That is the reason why we have a lot of postgraduates who enter into this scientific research wing after their graduations and post-graduation in countries like South Korea. That is how the technological prowess of the country develops, and if we want India to be a self-reliant nation, we cannot help but spend money on research and development. So what does the author suggest? So author simply says that we have to remove these thresholds. So if the three thresholds that are mentioned are removed, every worker, regardless of the factory sites, will have the same set of rights. Now this will ensure that the employee has job security as well as social security. So the government must ensure that the ease of doing business is not just about deregulation, it is about creating a conducive environment both for workers as well as employers. The reason we say this is because if workers are not taken care of, if you take a look at the present migrant issue, the migrant issue is mostly because of apathy from the political class. We don't even have proper data on migration. This shows that we urgently need to address through legislations about the social security aspect of its citizens. No matter how small, this should be a starting point. We have to create a firm supervisory board wherein workers are allowed to have their representation. This is not to say that we have to bring back the era of labor unions where frequent strikes were the norm and this hampered industrial activity. No. But what this author is advocating is there should be mechanisms and measures to create trust between both employees, and they should also treat their workers as a part of an organization so that they have a sense of belonging to the organization, and thus workers contribute for the development of the economy in general. So this is the gist of the article, and mainly about the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. So in this context, you also have to note that the central government is coming up with a unified code on labor laws. There are 4 labor codes which are in place. We have already discussed some of these in our previous editorial videos. Please go back and check them in the past 1 week. So in this context, please make a note on what these 4 labor codes are, what are the problems with these labor codes, and what are the issues that are happening with respect to the amendments made to labor laws in certain states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. So this labor issues is very important in the wake of the migrant crisis and also the COVID-19 situation, where social security becomes very central aspect of welfare going forward. The second article for the day is taken from the Indian Express, and it is titled Andhra Pradesh High Court quashes ordinance, asks the government to reappoint the state election commissioner. Now, what is the controversy about? Let us have a brief look into this article and also the background. So we all know that free and fair elections form the bedrock of a democratic country like India. And in India, the constitution envisages an election commission of India as well as the state election commission. So the state election commission is responsible for every election that happens within a state to safeguard the free and fair elections, especially concerning the local bodies. However, recently the government of Andhra Pradesh removed the state election commissioner via an ordinance. So this is the ordinance that the Andhra Pradesh High Court struck down. So what was the ordinance about? The governor promulgated an ordinance which reduced the term of the state election commissioner in the state from 5 years to 3 years. Also, this ordinance has altered the qualification that is required for becoming a state election commissioner. So earlier, the qualification required was the person should have been an officer of the rank of principal secretary and above to be eligible for this post. They changed it to a position where only a person who has served in the capacity of High Court judge will now occupy this post. So this qualification and this amendment through ordinance was struck down by Andhra Pradesh court. Now what is the entire problem about? Let us have a brief look. So the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh accused the State Election Commissioner of pushing back the elections by taking side of the former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Nara Chandrababu Naidu. But remembering the fact that the Election Commission as an institution is responsible, or it is a guardian for free and reasonable elections in India, and it is also given the responsibility to handle the model code of conduct. Also, it creates awareness about the electoral process and electoral governance among stakeholders. The Election Commission also prescribes the limits of campaign expenditure by the candidates and parties, monitoring the spending as well. So for all these reasons, it is very important that the institution of Election Commission remains insulated from all the political happenings of the state. It is in this context that the order of High Court becomes very important. We also have to remember the fact that state election commissioner shall not be removed from his or her office except in a manner that was laid down in Article 243K. So, the grounds for removing an election commissioner is similar to that of a judge of a high court. It is in this context we can also refer to what the courts said in Aparmita Singh versus State of UP case. So, in this case, Allahabad High Court has noted that if the governor has power to fix or prescribe tenure by rule, he also enjoys the power to amend the rule either for extending the term of tenure or reducing the same. Once the prescribed tenure comes to an end, the person who is incumbent must cease to hold the office and this shall not amount to removal from office. However, the court decided that there should be security of tenure in this particular case for the incumbent election commissioner to ensure that the constitutional legitimacy of the post is upheld. So, in this way, we can say that the concept of checks and balances has been proved yet again through judiciary. In this context, we also have to note that there should be thorough, transparent mechanisms to handle such accusations. There should be rule of law taking precedence. If there is a iota of possibility that indeed the state election commissioner has been taking sides, if it is proven, he should be tried as per the procedure established through law, and therefore rule of law becomes very important. That is the gist of this article.